Good afternoon, and welcome. Today I'm going to look at geographical information system. I'm going to look at geographical information system. The things that we are going to cover under geographical information, which is our GIS. We're going to look at the definition of GIS. Then after that, we look at the components of GIS. And we look at the various of different sources of data sources for GIS. We look at the function, the people that are involved, and also the purpose. This is what we are going to look at today. So these are some of the things that we are going to focus on. So the main thing is our GIS. It stands for Geographical Information Systems. You can be assessed on this acronym. That is your GIS. What does it stand for? It says Geographical Information System. That's what it stands for. Then from there, when it comes to GIS, you need to, let's try by unpack. When you talk about something geographical, of course, we are talking about in terms of location. So basically, we are concerned is where is it taking place? That is in terms of location, that is here on Earth. Okay, that is part of geographical. When we talk about the information, obviously, it involves the data, how we actually come up with the information that we used for different purposes. Obviously, it involves data. How we get our information, is it through primary, is through secondary means of collecting our data. Then also the systems. Obviously, whenever you hear about the system, obviously it has something to do what is inputted into the system and what are the processes that are taking place, and as well as what comes out of that same system. So that's what a geographical information system is all about. Geographical in terms of location, it's on Earth, obviously. Information, something to do with that, and then systems, obviously, the processes that are taking place, which involves importing, that is part of your recording, which also involves the various processes that are involved, and also what comes out of that process. So that's what GIS is all about. So in terms of definition, I'll try to simplify it so that it's easy to comprehend. So the first thing that you should know when it comes to the definition of GIS is it is a computer system. It is a what? It's a computer system. Okay, it is a computer system. That is the first part that you should include in your definition. It is a computer system. What is it used for? That is used to capture, record, manage, analyze, model, and display geographical data. So in terms of definition, our geographical information system is a computer system that is used to capture, to record, to manage, analyze, model, and display geographical data. So that's what it does. So that's how you define your GIS. It is a computer system that is used to capture, to record, to manage, to analyze, model, and display geographical data. So it's defined in terms of its function. You can see what does it do? It captures. What does it do? It records. What does it do? It manages. What does it do? It analyzes. What does it do? It models. What does it do? It displays. What does it display? Geographical data. So when you're defining your GIS, it's a computer system that is used to capture, to record, to manage, to analyze, model, display geographical data. That's what it is. So that is the definition of our GIS. That is the definition of our GIS. So we move on to the next element and our topic, that is we are now looking at the component. We are now looking at the component of GIS. We are now looking at the components of GIS. So when you talk about the components of GIS, what is it that is involved? In as far as the components are involved. Okay, components of GIS. So we have got the hardware, we have got the software, we have got the people, we have got the data, then we have got the methods. Okay, so during the process of our GIS, we have got basically 5 components that makes up our GIS. We have got basically 5 components. The first component is hardware. This is our first component. Think of the computer itself, think of the CPU, think of the mouse, that's part of your hardware. Of course, we have got the software, which are computer applications. Computer applications, okay? Computer applications, these are computer applications, okay? Different applications that are used there, okay? That's part of your software. The people that are involved, it can be in recording, it can be in capturing information and managing. Obviously, there are people that are involved in the process. That's also part of the component. Then we have got the data. This is the information. This is the information that is analyzed, the information that is modeled, the information that is displayed. So that's part of your data. Another component of the GIS. Then you've got the methods, the different methods that are used, be it in processing, be it in managing, be it in capturing. So all in all, when you talk about the components of GIS, we have hardware, we have got the software, we have got the people, we have got the data that is used. We also have what? The methods. So these are the 5 components of GIS. We have defined our GIS as the computer system that is used to capture, record, manage, analyze, model, and display geographical data. That is our definition. So this is what makes up the components of GIS, which is our hardware, your software, the people, the data, and the components. You can have a question where you are asked to identify from the pictures that are given, the hardware, identify the software, identify the people, identify the data, and also the methods. So you can be assessed on that. You should always know the components of GIS. It's very important. I'll now move on to the data sources. For our GIS, the data sources. That's where I'm moving on to now. When you talk about the data sources now, where do we get our information from that we use for our GIS? What are the data sources? We can get our information from topographical map, okay? Topographical map. We can get our information from a topographical map. It can also be a data source for GIS. We can get from topographical map. We can also get our information from satellite images. Remember? Okay? Satellite images. We can also get our information from aerial photographs. We can get our information from aerial photographs. We can also get our information from field work. We can also get our information from administrative records. Okay. So these are the different sources of data for our GIS, from topographical maps, from satellite images, we can get from aerial photographs, we can get from field work, which means we are going into the field to do research, where we can use both primary and secondary data sources. So primary, it means we are getting first-hand information. Secondary, it means information that has already been collected. We can also use administrative records like the census record, in as far as our population is concerned. So these are the different data sources that are used in GIS. These are the different data sources that are used in GIS. The next thing that we are also going to talk about is the functions. We are going to talk about what? The functions, okay? Functions, okay? Obviously, when it comes to GIS, when you talk about the functions, what is it that we are also involved with? Okay, we are mostly concerned with the capturing that takes place. Remember, we say there is capturing. There is also modeling that takes place. From what we have, modeling. Okay, there is analysis that takes place as far as information is concerned. There is also managing of information, okay, that takes place. So there's capturing, there's modeling, there's analysis that takes place, then there's manipulation of information. So these are the different functions of GIS that we have. We are saying now there's capturing, there's what we call manipulating data, there's managing, there's analyzing, modeling, and there's also display of that information. That is part of the function of our GIS. That's part of the function of our GIS. Then we have got the people that are involved. We are talking about GIS. We are talking about GIS technicians. We are talking about GIS users, different users of GIS. These are the people that are involved. Your GIS technicians, GIS users, it can be urban planners, they can also use cartographers, they can also use that. So these are the different people that are involved in as far as GIS is concerned. You're talking about the GIS technicians, you're talking about the GIS users as well. Then the other thing that we can also talk about is the purpose. What is the purpose of GIS? What is the purpose of GIS? Is to solve complex, okay, complex planning and management problems. Management problems, okay, management problems, okay, is to solve complex planning and management problems, okay, to solve complex planning and management problems. That's what it does. So in short, what we are saying now is we have looked at the concept of GIS, where we sort of try to unpack it. When you talk about doing geographical, it means it's happening in terms of its location on Earth. Information involves data, systems. You're looking at a situation whereby there's something that goes into the system in terms of inputting. That's part of your capturing and recording. Then you've got processes. That's part of your management. Then output, what comes out of that. So that GIS, which is a computer system that is used to capture, record, manage, analyze, and model geographical data. Then we also talked about, after that, we also talked about in terms of definition that it is a computer system that is used to what? To record, to capture, manage, analyze, model, display geographical data. That is the definition. Then from there, we moved on to look at the data sources, where we said that we have got information from the topographical maps, we have got information from the aerial photographs, we've got information from the fieldwork and administrative records, such as information from census, basically about the population. So these are some of the data sources that we have. We also talked about the functions, where we say that there's more capturing that is taking place, management, there's manipulation of information, analysis, there's modeling, there's display of information. That is some of the functions of GIS. Then we also looked at the people that are involved, where we say that we have got GIS technicians, we have got different GIS users like urban planners, we have got cartesians, okay, cartographers, of course, they also make use of GIS, among other people that can actually make use of that, okay. Then we have got people that are involved in data capturing, data processing. We're talking about programmers, we're talking about data managers, all those people. These are different users under the people. Then we have got the purpose, which we say is to solve complex planning and management problems. That is the main purpose of GIS. So this is it in as far as GIS is concerned. I'll try to sum it up for the last time, then we move on to GIS concept. What I'm basically trying to say is know it in terms of its definition. That is very important. Make sure you know all the GIS concept, okay? Make sure you know the GIS in terms of its definition. A computer system used to capture, to record, to manage, to model, and display geographical data. That's what it is. Know the components of GIS, that is your hardware, your software, the people, the data, and the methods that are used. Know the data sources for GIS. I've said that we get this information from topographical map, from satellite images, from aerial photographs. We get this information as well from fieldwork and administrative records. Then from there, the functions for capturing, for managing, manipulation, modeling, display. Those are the different functions of GIS, okay. Then also the people that are involved, GIS technicians. I think we have talked about the different in terms of GIS technicians, like your data capturers. We are talking about your data processors, the GIS programmers, the data managers. These are part of your technicians that you have. Then we talk about GIS users, all users of spatial products, of course, that uses the GIS system. Okay, that's basically what it's all about. Then lastly, the purpose, where we say that it is used to solve complex planning and management problems. So that is it in as far as GIS is concerned. In the next video, which is part 2, I'm going to look at what we call the GIS concept, where I'm going to look at things like the spatial data, the vector data, the raster data, primary data, secondary data, data manipulation, data integration, buffering, spatial analysis, spatial query, among other concepts. That's what I'm going to do after this video. Thank you.